Welcome to Acez Top 10 Takeaways, episode 11. Today we're going to be going over the top 10 takeaways of a sales call. Yes, a sales phone call. I was doing some research and I realized that there's not much material out there for sales motivation or to motivate salespeople that are on the phones most of the days talking to clients. So I said, why not make a sales video? I've been doing sales my whole life and I've been on the phone doing sales for about the last 5 to 6 years. We have a structure that we use on my team, and I believe that with this structure, you could plug it into any company, any position, or any field you're in, and you could do your sales call the same exact way. So the rules are simple as always. Be in a peaceful, quiet area and get ready for your sales phone call skills to transform. Now understand, as I'm going through these top 10 takeaways, I'm going to be on a sales call, and for me to give you a good example of what I'm going to be selling, it's going to be Acez Top 10 Takeaways, the channel you're watching right now. I just want you to understand the value of this channel and what I'm going to offer to my potential client on the phone here. It's going to be Acez Top 10 Takeaways. We're calling an author that just came out with his first book, and we're trying to sell him on letting us summarize his book in 10 takeaways and publish it to the world. That's the sales angle we're going at. Stay tuned for the 10 takeaways. Takeaway number 1, the introduction. Introduction is the way you start every single sales phone call. As a matter of fact, it's the way you start everything. It's very simple. It's your name, your brand, your company brand, your rankings, the value of why the client should be on the phone with you or why you should be on the phone with them. Then you pivot and take control. Remember, for Acez Top 10 Takeaways, if I'm going to call a random author here and sell him on why he should summarize his book on my channel, here's how the introduction would sound.
Hello?
Hey Haas, how's it going today?
It's going pretty good. It's going pretty good. How about you?
Hey, it's going great. Thanks for asking. My name is Alex. I'm actually a CEO of Acez Top 10 Takeaways, and I'm calling you today because we just read your latest book that came out, Execution. It's a phenomenal book. It's actually been flagged by my staff here, and we got a great opportunity to make this book blow up for you. Are you by your email by any chance?
I actually am. I'm on it right now.
That's exactly how it would sound. Takeaway number 2, accomplish. Whether the client is looking for your service or your service is looking for theirs, you always have to find out what the client wants to accomplish. There's 2 ways to do this. Number 1, if the client is calling you, then that's very easy. All you have to ask is, Mr. Client, what are you looking to accomplish today? They're going to start talking about everything they want to accomplish. You listen like a good professional, and you use all that as leverage to get their goals and their dreams. Now, if you're calling them for your service, then you got to explain to them what your service is and what your value is, and then ask them, instead of what you're trying to accomplish, ask them, what's your ideal situation coming out of this phone call? That would allow the client to start saying what they want to do in their life and how your service could help them out. Either way it goes, you're going to find out everything the client wants to do, and that's where you take the call from there and pivot. Here's how it would sound on the phone. So Haas, Acez Top 10 Takeaways, we've been in business now for about 10 years. We have over millions of views, and our biggest goal here is getting your book out there on our YouTube channel, letting the whole world see it in 10 takeaways within 10 minutes so everyone has time to listen to it and hopefully drive more sales. What's your ideal situation coming out of this phone call with my company and what we've done so far?
Well, Ace, to be honest, you know I worked very hard in this book. My main goal is obviously to try to get as many people to buy the book or at least review the book. For the next couple of years, I'm hoping at least 1 million or so views in the next couple of years.
That's awesome. We're definitely going to help you get all that done, Haas. Thank you for letting me know that. Takeaway number 3, acknowledge. When your client is on the edge of their seat and they really don't want to be on the phone, because let's be honest with each other. When somebody calls you from a random number, do you really want to stay on that phone call? Usually not. You have to acknowledge and let the client know this is a perfect time for them to be on the phone with you and for your service, and everything's going to work out great. So that way they feel a little more comfortable, they get the positivity from you, and they want to be on the phone with you. Here's how it's going to sound on the phone. Whatever the client says, you have to be on the yes train with them. Yes, yes, yes. Positivity, perfect time, great, awesome. These are the trigger words you want to use when you're doing this. Here's how it's going to sound on the phone. Hey Haas, that's perfect, man. You actually called in at a perfect time to go ahead and get your book summarized in 10 takeaways, because over the next 5 years, they're saying that the number of people that have cable is going to go down. Everything's going to go down with TV, cable, radio. everything's going to be on the internet. And for you to take advantage of YouTube and get your book out there in 10 takeaways, there couldn't be a better time to do it, Haas. So I'm going to do everything in my power today to get your book out there on my YouTube channel so we can start promoting it, okay?
Sounds great.
Awesome, Haas. Takeaway number 4, the beef. The beef is the grits of the situation that you need to learn. In every good sales call, you want to figure out the details that you need to sell your service right away so you're not wasting any time. In this situation, like buying a car, the beef for buying a car would be what's the make and model of your car, how many miles are on it, and what's the condition of your car. That would be the beef for driving a car. In this situation, while I'm on the phone with Haas, trying to get his book on my website to summarize, the beef would sound something like this. Hey Haas, so how many books do you currently have out right now?
I currently got only the one. My first book I've just written.
Okay, so you currently have this one book out. And how long did it take you to make that book?
I'm going to say I started back in 2015.
2015, okay. And then who would you say your main target age group is to read this book so I can make sure that I target it the right way for you?
Well, as you know, the book really directs toward kids that are coming out of college, trying to find their way into the real world as far as building businesses and kind of finding their track down this crazy life route that there is.
Okay, so it's mostly for self-development for the age group of about 22 to 30?
Yeah.
Perfect, Haas. I'm going to get to work for you on this right away and make sure we target that group specifically. That was the beef. As he's talking about the beef, I'm calculating in the back of my mind, who could I target this book out to? What does Haas want to see in the future? What's his ideal situation? That's everything that the beef is telling me, and now I can get to work on it. Takeaway number 5, kill the seed and plant the seed. This is the most important part of a sales call to make sure you and the client are on the same page. Most salespeople make a fatal mistake when they chat without relevance the whole call, and then at the end of the call, after they've wasted an hour, they pitch the client something they don't like, and it ends up with them getting hung up on the face. That's not the way it should be. You and the client should be on the same page the whole time, and the client should know exactly what you're about to present to them because you've kept them in the loop and you shared your thoughts out loudly. So that's what planting the seed does. It should be done in the first 5 to 7 minutes of a phone call, and it should tell the client what you're thinking about doing, making sure the client's on board and moving together forward from there on out. Here's how it would sound on the phone call with me trying to get Haas's book out there on my website to summarize the top 10 takeaways of. So Haas, so far you told me you have one book out, you want to get it out to 22 to 30-year-old crowd, and you want to get it out as fast as possible and hopefully get 1 million views in the future. So here's what I'm thinking about doing for you. I'm going to go ahead and get you a package, a starter package, where we could summarize the top 10 takeaways for you. We can market it on Instagram, on Facebook, on Snapchat, hopefully get some takeaways to go viral, put it out there, and then get a monthly subscription going with your company and Acez Top 10 Takeaways. Does that sound good?
Sounds great.
Hey, perfect, Haas. That's exactly what we're going to do for you. I'll get to the final numbers and adjustments here shortly, but in the meanwhile, tell me about, and you pivot again. Takeaway number 6, what I like to call cracking the egg. Cracking the egg is getting the emotional benefits out of a client. There is nothing that differentiates different salespeople if you're not getting any emotions. The sales guy or woman that stays on the phone with the client, figures out their emotions, their family, shares stories with them, that's the salesperson that's going to get the sale. So it's only asking them, after you get their service or after you perform your services for them, what are their plans after that? After they're successful, what are they going to do after that? You figure out where your client's dreams are and where their goals are. Here's how it would sound on the phone. So Haas, let's say we get this book viral for you. We get you over 1 million sales for your book in the next 5 years. We have a YouTube video that went viral and that hit over 1 million views. What are your plans after that? What do you do?
Really? Maybe write another book?
In this case, we got a tough one to crack the egg. So you got to try to crack it again. Here's how it would sound. So Haas, I know you'll probably write another book, but I'm thinking long term. I'm thinking in the long run. After you're successful, you wrote 2 books, 3 books, 4 books, 5 books. What do you do then? What are the goals? What are the plans? What are your dreams? If you could picture yourself in 5 years, what's your ideal picture?
I mean, honestly, I'm writing these books because these 22 to 30 years old, that's where the age group I fit in as well. And I'm hoping that I can change enough lives, maybe maybe travel and actually speak about my books, cross country, live on different continents, different countries, kind of figure out what I can do to better the world a little bit more.
Takeaway number 7, ride the wave. So after you crack the egg 1 time, 2 times, 3 times, and the emotions start pouring out, that's good, but if you don't use those emotions and those stories and ride that wave, then it means nothing. What riding the wave means is connecting with the client on something they said and riding it all the way to the end. For example, if the client talks about their kids, you could ask, how many kids do you have? How old are they? What are they going to do for college? How much are you saving for them? You ride the wave all the way till it dies. So what you want to do is, whenever you crack the egg and you get a good emotion out of there, ride that wave. Here's how it's going to sound on the phone. Wow, Ha, so you want to travel to all these continents. Where's the first continent you would go to?
Maybe I'm probably gonna start off where the poor countries like Africa, and start moving my way up, build on the third world countries, and take it from there.
Wow. So let's say that it's 3 years down the line, you book your ticket to Africa, you arrive there. What's the first thing you do in Africa?
Maybe go visit the local universities. I've heard stories where the universities aren't as what we're used to see. Maybe talk to college kids that are struggling the same way I did, and see what I can do in order to maybe change their future and maybe build a path that they can feel confident following.
That's awesome, man. I've never been to Africa, and the fact that you want to go there just to help more people out in the world, you're a great guy, Haas. I'm going to do everything in my power to try to make sure this comes true. Where's the next place you'd go after Africa?
I'm probably going to start hitting more of the Middle East. I've heard that schooling system there isn't at par like we're used to, and kind of take it from one place to another. Let every student know that though there's college is always necessary. You can always become great no matter where you start off at.
Wow, Middle East, Haas. You know, I'm actually from the Middle East too. Where's the first place you'd go in the Middle East? Another wave. Takeaway number 8, connectors. If you crack the egg and ride the wave with no relevance at all to your service, you're not going to get very far because the client's going to think you're just chit-chatting. So it's very important when you get these emotional benefits and the goals and dreams of your clients, you connect it back to your service and they make one line. That's what a connector is. It's saying something with purpose that shows the client that their emotions and your service could connect and it can make their life better. So it's very important to have at least 3 to 6 connectors during a phone call. Number 1, it shows your client you care. Number 2, it shows you where your client wants to be in the future. And number 3, it relates your service back to their goals. It's super important. Here's how it's going to sound on the phone. So I'll just crack in Haas's egg and ride in his wave with his traveling and where he wants to go and how he wants to help. So Haas, you said that you want to go to Africa. The first trip you would go after this book kicks off, is that right?
Yeah.
And you said you've never been able to go there and it's been your goal for the last 10 years. So how much money would it take you to get to Africa?
I mean, because I want to travel throughout the entire country, so content looking about $10,000.
$10,000. And how much do you have in the checking and savings right now?
About
$3,000. So you need $7,000 more, right?
Sounds about right.
How many extra books would you need to get like $7,000 extra in the bank?
I mean, if every book gets me $10, maybe about 700 more sales.
700 more sales. So you're saying if Acez Top 10 Takeaways could get you an additional 700 sales, you would have enough money to book that trip to Africa and start writing your second book?
Yes.
Awesome, Haas. So here's what I'm going to do for you. I can't make any promises, but I can tell you this much. I'm going to spread your book throughout Barnes & Nobles. I got a connection there. And if I get you these 700 book sales at the end of the month after our first month together, you got to make me one promise. When you get to Africa, you take a picture of you there and you send it over to me. I want to put it on my Wall of Fame board here and remember it for life. Could you promise me that?
Hey, with my words, cross my heart and hope to die.
Awesome, Haas. I'm going to do everything in my power to get you the 700 sales and get you that trip to Africa so we can accomplish that goal for you and get going with a second book. Takeaway number 9, presentation. So now it's time to present your option to your client. The presentation should always sound the same regardless of who you're talking to. You should go over the initial goals when they first started the phone call, everything they told you they want to accomplish. Number 2, you go over their current situation, which is probably not the best one. And number 3, you go over the new situation with your service and your product and how you're going to help them. Here's how it's going to sound on the phone. So Haas, man, it was great talking to you about Africa, Lebanon, all these great things you want to do, man. I actually got great news for you. I got this approved for you. It's better than I expected. Do you have a pen and a paper?
Yes, I do.
Perfect. So while you're getting that pen and paper, before you write anything down, I just want to make sure we're on the same page. When we first started this phone call, you told me the most important thing to you was selling more copies of your book, getting the trip to Africa, having some flexibility and leverage in your life so you could travel more and start writing your second book. Is that right?
That's on the nail. Yep.
Perfect. And you also told me that if we could sell you 700 extra copies and publish this for you on our Top 10 Takeaway platform, get you more advertisement, you could book that first trip to Africa. Is that right?
Yep. So $7,000. Yep.
That's exactly what we're going to do, Haas. I'm going to work night and day. I'm not going to sleep till we get you those 700 copies. So write this down. Right now, currently, you've sold 1,200 copies of the book. Write that down.
Okay.
And currently on your website, I just checked it out for you, you've had about 300 views in the last 3 months. Write that down.
Okay.
And currently in the bank, you have $3,000. Write that down also.
Okay.
This is the paper I want you to scale my service with. I want you to look at this paper once a month and make sure you know where you started and where you are with Acez Top 10 Takeaways, okay?
All right.
So here's the service I'm going to give you. I'm going to give you a $1,000 starter package. With this package is going to come all the social platform advertising, a top 10 takeaway video that's going to be sent out to all of our subscribers, and we're going to have daily photo shoots for you and take care of all your marketing needs. Every single month for $1,000, Haas, it's going to be the best investment you ever made. Takeaway number 10, the closing. Now, if you had a great sales phone call with emotions and digging deep and sharing stories, you really shouldn't have to close your client. It should just be going over the next steps together because you guys are two people on the same side of the fence, accomplishing the same thing, all have one mission in mind. But sometimes you do have to close those slower clients. So here's an example of how the closing would sound. Haas, great, yep, $1,000 starter package every month. It's going to be the best investment you ever made, I promise you. I'm going to get an application sent out to you. Do you want to take care of that $1,000 as a direct deposit from your credit card or from your bank account?
I can wire from my bank account.
Perfect. Bank account is fine. I'll put you on a brief hold. I'll get the application. We'll sign everything online, and we'll start the package with Acez Top 10 Takeaways. Welcome to the family. That's one way to do it. Now, if you get an objection, it's very simple. Go back to the emotions, go back to the goals, and hit it right back in the nose. So, Haas, it's a $1,000 package. I'm going to get the application out to you. Would you want to take care of that with a direct deposit, or would you want to do it straight from your credit card?
Hey, Ace, man, it sounds great and all, but I got it run by my business partner.
Of course, you want to run this by your business partner. I understand they have to be on the same page. But let me ask you this, Haas. You told me at the beginning of the call, and you wrote it down right now, you only have a couple hundred sales and a couple hundred views on the website. Your main goal is to go to Africa. You know the Top 10 Takeaway platform has been proven for success, right?
Yeah.
So obviously your business partner is going to love the fact that you're doing this for him. You spent the hour on the phone with me, and now you're taking care of this for him. You're going to expedite his business. The worst case scenario, tell your business partner after it succeeds and surprise them, okay? So for that application, do you want to put it on a direct deposit from your bank account or your credit card?
I'll do my bank account.
Back to the emotions, close again. Thank you so much for subscribing and watching Acez Top 10 Takeaways sales phone call. Anybody you love or care about, share this with them. Any sales professional you know, share this video with them because we're doing this for you. Thanks so much for watching. Stay tuned for the next Top 10 Takeaway. And if there's any book or any talent or any strategy you'd like to see, message me below and find out. Thanks so much. It's the Acez.